September 8, 1943. You do not hold a collapsing front. You do not defend a country whose army has just switched sides. And you certainly do not attempt to hold a mountainous peninsula against the combined might of the United States and Britain when your own troops are already exhausted from 2 years of Mediterranean fighting. That was the rule. For generations, European strategists agreed Italy could not be defended without Italy's cooperation. The nation's defensive doctrine relied on Italian ports, Italian railways, Italian coastline defenses, and Italian manpower. Lose the Italians, and the entire geographic structure collapses. And yet, in September 1943, when Italy surrenders and the German High Command panics, one general is told to do the impossible: hold the entire Italian peninsula alone. No allies, no naval power, no air superiority, no functioning local government, just German troops, outnumbered nearly 8-1, facing the full weight of the Allied invasion. And in that moment, when most commanders would break, one man simply nods and utters the defiant words that would shape the next 20 brutal months of warfare. But in 1943, Albert Kesselring did something no strategist believed possible. Albert Kesselring is 57 years old, a Bavarian artillery officer turned Luftwaffe commander, now serving as the supreme German commander in Italy. Before the war, he was known for optimism. Not the foolish kind, calculated optimism, the type born from a lifetime of solving problems under pressure. He has fought in Poland, France, the Balkans, and North Africa. He has commanded air fleets with thousands of aircraft and ground forces numbering in the hundreds of thousands. But Italy is different. Italy is a death trap. A long, narrow peninsula divided by the Apennines, 1,300 kilometers of ridges, valleys, rivers, and choke points. For an invader, every advance must be made uphill. For a defender, every ridge is a fortress. And now Italy has collapsed. Rome is in chaos. Italian commanders flee. Soldiers abandon entire coastal forts. The Italian fleet sails to Malta to surrender. Within 24 hours, Germany's southern flank appears to dissolve like sugar in water. Kesselring receives the order from OKW: hold Italy. He responds with one question: with what forces? Berlin answers: with whatever remains. And then comes the moment historians always return to. Kesselring stands over a map of Italy, traces his finger along the mountainous spine of the Apennines, and says, "Then we will make Italy fight for us." He will not rely on the Italians. He will weaponize the terrain. And now, with Rome trembling and Allied forces landing, he steps into the impossible. You're standing in his headquarters. It is 1400 hours, September 9th, 1943. The first order goes out. Kesselring's voice is sharp, controlled. Activate Achse. All units move immediately. Across Italy, German troops seize Italian garrisons. Truck engines roar to life. Boots hammer against cobblestones. Commanders shout orders in clipped German. The scale is staggering. 1.2 million Italian soldiers disarmed, 5,500 artillery pieces seized, 13,000 machine guns taken, hundreds of tanks captured or destroyed. Over 400,000 Italian troops were placed under guard. The noise is overwhelming, rifle bolts snapping, metal crates slamming shut, Italian officers protesting as their own guns are dragged away. In less than 72 hours, the Italian army ceases to exist as a fighting force.
Kesselring has turned it into a warehouse. The next morning, he receives the report. All Allied landings at Salerno confirmed. 6 divisions are landing, more to come. He has 1 division in position, the 16th Panzer, totaling just 9,000 men and 118 tanks. They drive south at top speed. Dust clouds rise behind their columns. Engines scream as half-functional panzers push to their limits. Gunners load ammo at every stop. HE, AP, smoke. At 08:30, they strike. The 16th Panzer opens fire with 88mm guns at ranges of 1,500 yards, 1,200 yards, 900 yards. The impacts echo across the beaches. Sherman tanks burst into flame. U.S. infantrymen dive for cover in soft sand. American destroyers must close to point-blank range, firing 5-inch guns almost horizontally to prevent a German breakthrough. Every blast shakes the shoreline. Every shell splashes seawater and shrapnel into the air. Kesselring knows this battle is unwinnable, but he also knows every hour he buys means another defensive line prepared behind him. While the beaches erupt in chaos, Kesselring's engineers attack the terrain. Not 1 defensive line, not 2, 14, each built in layers: trenches, bunkers, anti-tank ditches, machine gun nests, dug-in mortar pits, camouflaged artillery positions, overlapping fields of fire. The names become infamous: Volturno Line, Barbara Line, Bernhardt Line, Gustav Line, Hitler Line, Sanger Line, Caesar Line, Gothic Line. American generals swear under their breath when they see the maps. British officers wonder if the Germans built these lines before the war, so formidable are the positions. By October, Kesselring transforms the peninsula into a staircase of death. Berlin orders withdrawal. Kesselring refuses. Hitler demands that he fall back to the northern Alps. Kesselring calmly argues Italy can be held for months, maybe a year. His logic is brutal but accurate. Every Allied soldier stuck in Italy cannot fight in France. Every day Italy holds gives Germany precious breathing room. Every ridge delays the Allies by weeks. Every delayed week buys the Eastern Front time. Hitler, strangely, agrees. Kesselring now commands the longest defensive campaign in Western Europe. Now the real grind begins. Rain pours across central Italy. Rivers swell, valleys flood, mountains turn into vertical mudslides. You hear the constant slap of water against helmets, the squish of boots sinking 6 inches into muck. Most German divisions operate with 30% of their original vehicles. Fuel trucks sink, tanks slide off mountain roads. Yet Kesselring's soldiers dig in. December 1943 to May 1944. The Gustav Line, the Abbey, the mountain. The Allies attack with 200,000 men, 1,000 aircraft, over 1 million artillery shells. German defenders include 1st Parachute Division, 44th Infantry Division, 15th Panzer Grenadiers. Kesselring visits positions regularly, often under fire, encouraging commanders, inspecting trenches, adjusting artillery. The sensory overload is indescribable. The mountain shakes with constant bombardment. Shells scream overhead in endless arcs. Dust clouds choke the air for hours. Rubble rains down after each explosion. Wounded men cry out through the smoke. The stench of cordite clings to everything. But the line holds. Astonishingly, impossibly, it holds. The Allies attack from one side, then the other, then both, but each assault ends with staggering losses. Cassino alone costs the Allies 75,000 casualties. January 1944. The Allies land at Anzio, 36,000 men trying to outflank the Gustav Line. For the first time, Kesselring is caught off guard. He races to the front, orders 6 divisions to pivot, tanks grind across marshes, artillery fires non-stop for 48 hours straight. But the decisive moment comes in February. Failure seems certain. 2 fronts collapsing at once. Cassino is cracking from the south, Anzio breaking through from the west. If the Allies link the 2 fronts, Rome is lost. If Rome is lost, Germany's hold on Italy shatters. Kesselring's reserves? Almost gone. He orders his last battalions into action. 1 company of 80 German paratroopers holds off 1,200 Allied troops. A platoon reduced to 11 men holds a ridge for 3 days. A Panther tank battalion fights until only 2 tanks remain operational. German casualties reach over 15,000 in just 2 weeks. Kesselring sends a message to Berlin. We will hold, but only just. He is right. By inches, by minutes, by the narrowest margin imaginable, the line holds. June 4th, 1944. The Allies finally break through. Rome falls. But instead of collapsing, Kesselring executes a perfect fighting withdrawal. Even as the Allies celebrate, he builds new lines, the Trasimene Line, the Gothic Line, the Green Line. He continues fighting until April 1945, dragging out the Italian campaign for 20 extra months, far longer than Allied planners believed possible. No other German commander holds a front this long under such impossible conditions. The consequences reshape Europe. What the Allies didn't initially understand was that Kesselring's defense absorbed staggering amounts of their manpower. Hundreds of thousands of Allied troops were tied down. Thousands of tanks were committed to the Italian mountains. Massive air forces were diverted from France and Germany. Entire divisions were unable to participate in earlier operations in southern France.
His stand delays. Operation Dragoon, the fall of Vienna, the collapse of Axis positions in the Balkans, the redeployment of Allied airfields against Germany, pressure on the Eastern Front, strategic bombing of access to southern Germany. Every month Italy holds is a month the Allies cannot open another major front. The true impact becomes clear after the war. Kesselring's stubborn refusal to abandon Italy forced the Allies into the most prolonged, resource-draining land campaign in Western Europe outside Normandy. And now the human side returns. Albert Kesselring survives the war. Tried, sentenced, released early. He spends his final years writing, reflecting, and visiting the very mountains where so many fought and fell. He died in 1960, but the legacy belongs not just to him, but to the men he commanded. Paratroopers from the 1st Fallschirmjäger Division, average age 19 to 22. Grenadiers of the 15th Panzer Grenadier Division, mountain troops of the 5th Gebirgsjäger Division, engineers who carved bunkers into cliffs by hand, rear echelon clerks thrown into combat as battlefield replacements. Entire battalions were reduced from 700 men to fewer than 90 within weeks. These men endured freezing nights, mud so deep it swallowed boots, artillery bombardments that lasted 10 hours, and mountain warfare so brutal it shocked generals on both sides. To this day, Italy holds the scars. machine gun nests hidden under forest moss, collapsed bunkers on the slopes of Monte Cassino, fields still yield rusted helmets and fragments of steel. This story matters because it shows how one commander's will can shape a campaign and how thousands of ordinary soldiers bore the cost. If this story moved you, please hit that like button. Every click tells the algorithm this history is worth remembering. We rescue forgotten battles from the archives. Subscribe and turn on notifications to join the mission. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment with your city or state and tell us if someone in your family served. Thank you for ensuring that Albert Kesselring and the hundreds of thousands of men who fought on the Italian front do not fade into silence. They deserve to be remembered.